Hey guys, I'm Toluca from Markers and Minions, and for today's video I want to go over some simple strategies that you can use to boost or really spice up your next language arts unit. So during this video I'm going to be going over everything that you see behind me. Some of my ideas are my old tried and true ideas that I've been doing for years. Some of them are newer spins on existing ideas out there. So the first strategy that I want to talk about is a room transformation. And when you hear room transformation, I don't know about you, but when I hear room transformation, I immediately start to think like, that's overwhelming. That's a ton of work and money. And if you go on Pinterest, it's just absolutely unrealistic for most teachers, I would say. So I want to kind of revisit what it means, or what it means to have a room transformation, and more importantly, why we would want to do something like that. Now, when I was in college, I remember I was in a course where we analyzed picture books and novels. And we really focused on bringing the text alive for the students. And I remember that one of the strategies that I learned about, we were using Charlotte's Web as an example. One of the strategies we learned about is just get a piece of butcher paper and start drawing and make, life-size characters or animals, or just any sort of like clip art that kind of goes with your theme. So for Charlotte's Web, I remember we drew the animals that you would find in the barn, colored them. That was a lot of work. I wouldn't go to the coloring and go that far, but yeah, we would just draw these things, cut them out, and we'd paste them on the walls everywhere, or we would hang some, put things on the window, and then that way when the kids walked in, they could see something was different, and that was instantly engaging. And so that goes hand in hand with our goal. Our goal of a room transformation is to just do something that's out of the norm, just slightly different, so that it boosts student engagement and they want to figure out more. So it's kind of, in a way, it's like the ultimate hook for your unit. So how would you connect that to something that you're learning about in your English language arts unit? So one thing that I love to do is take images that come with the student text. So whatever curriculum you may be using, but take images from their student text, put it underneath your dot camera, project it onto your board or your screen, and then trace. Okay, so that's a pro tip if you are not an artist or just frankly don't feel like drawing all of these cutouts. Just project it, trace, cut it out, post, and you're good to go. And I would even just have the kids eventually color it in if that's something that they want to do. That can even be an incentive. So that the goal is to have them just buy in and walk in and be like, whoa, that's neat. So a couple of ideas. How do you think about what topic or concept or theme, I guess, for a room transformation? A lot of the times what I see online are changing your classroom into a specific place, like a doctor's office or a hospital or a Starbucks cafe or things like that. I don't know if you've seen those online. But I like to think of a couple of different ways to kind of go about thinking of a theme. So for one thing, you can just take your unit concept if you've got an essential question and start Googling images that pop up, icons, clip art. Teachers Pay Teachers is really great for that. In fact, my favorite clip artist, I've got her work everywhere, is Zippity Doodah Designs, Beth. She's extremely talented, and she has got a clip art set for just about every educational thing that you can think of. And so that's one way, is you just buy a pack of clip art for cheap, and you've got all these images, and then just start, again, projecting and get those images up around your classroom, or put them on your classroom door. Easy things like that. You can also dress up. So one of the ways that I like to instantly boost engagement is by doing a quick little dress up for myself. And again, on some, like if you're Pinteresting, you'll see like where teachers buy a whole bunch of stuff so that their kids can dress up. That is so fun and so sweet and so memorable. But if you don't have the time or money for that, just get something for yourself. I'm focusing on inventors. Make a lab coat. Come in with a beaker, whatever. Something sciencey or engineering kind of themed. And then you're instantly going to be the star of your classroom, and the kids are going to be like, what's going on? Another thing you can do is pick a read aloud that matches your theme. So for example, if you are in, I'd say K1 or 2, and you're doing an inventor unit or a STEM unit or something like that, you can choose a cute picture book to read and make your classroom mirror what they read about in the text. So for example, one book that I like is A Balloon for Isabel, and I'm looking at my notes here. A Balloon for Isabel, where she's a porcupine and she really wants a balloon, but she keeps being denied because she's a porcupine. She'll pop the balloon. So she has to think of all these like innovative ways so that her teacher allows her to have balloons on graduation day. And so for that, put some balloons up around your classroom, right? Draw a porcupine, put that up. So instantly, if the kids walk into your classroom and see balloons, what are we learning about? And then you've got your read aloud, and then your read aloud segues into your bigger picture, your bigger unit concept. Okay. You could similarly, if you're doing something on, inventors or engineering, you could turn your room sort of into like a sciencey type of lab, or have your front door, classroom door, say like, entering whatever zone to kind of match your theme. And those are really just quick, cheap, simple ways to tie it all together. Another thing you can do is to gamify your concept. So I found that initially these bingo games that everyone's heard of bingo, but there's a teacher, Ashley, of Teach, Create, Motivate. She has taken the whole concept of bingo and connected it with classroom management, where when the kids are exemplifying a certain behavior, or you could even like a character trait, if they're being problem solvers or innovative or creative, something that relates to your theme, they earn a bingo trip. So I've got that board here, and each little bingo square has an inventor. Check it out. Look how cute these are. These are from Beth from Zippity Doodah. These are her little creations, or it's her clip art, and I turned it into a game. So you pick out a chip or a card whenever they are doing whatever it is that you want them to do, and you match it, you put it on your board. So like this is Ben Franklin. So there you go. And it's in color, so that's how you can distinguish. And once they get 5 in a row, they earn bingo, and there's some sort of class reward or class incentive that you've all agreed upon ahead of time that you're working towards. So this can be done with anything. Like Ashley from Teach, Create, Motivate, she's got different themes for like seasons and really cute things. So do take whatever it is you're learning about. If you even want to create your own bingo board, just throw some clip art on there, and there you go. Another thing is to connect to class. Another way to connect to classroom management, make it all like more thematic and tied together. This is one strategy that I have here. So I took Beth's clip art again, and I made these cute little posters that have the inventor, the name, and then a trait. Because in my class, I really like to focus on the types of character traits that you find in a person who's innovative. And so then what you could do is line up all the black and white posters. And then as students are exemplifying that behavior that you want, or that trait that you want to see, take the color versions and start to fill in your chart. And it would move this way, okay? So then, like 4 in a row, or you could do 3 in a row, 5 in a row, whatever it is. Once they get to 4, that's their prize. Okay, and it's just simple. It's on a sticky note, 5 minutes recess, or whatever it is that you know your students are going to love. Then they've earned it, and then they can keep filling up their board. So that's a really easy way to boost engagement, classroom management, using your time in your theme. Alternatively, there's a couple other ways you could use these little cards. And again, these are so easy to make. If this is not your theme, just again, go on TPT, find some clip art, and bam, just put it on a piece of paper, write the trait or whatever. And it's just so cute. You can have all of these displayed, and then when you see the behavior you want, you can turn it around and bam, there's a prize. Okay, or the opposite, you can have them on the board this way. So, and here's what we want, what we're working towards. So just write down on sticky notes what you'd like. And I saw this idea by Head Over Heels for Teaching. This is something she's been talking about for years that is just such a brilliant idea. She just takes Postit Notes and writes down the desired behavior, and underneath, and then like this, like she tiles them, and then she takes them down, and then underneath there's like a secret prize. And I'll talk about that in a moment here with my own twist on it. But if you see like they've done that behavior, they've met that goal, turn it around, collect the inventors on the board. Once you have a certain amount of inventors showing, then you earn your classroom incentive. What else? All right. So next thing I want to talk about is planning a thematic unit. So we've got this idea of a room transformation where we can see the theme carried out in the decor. But now what about in your instruction? So I really love to think about how I can extend my unit concepts into other areas and have as much crossover as possible. So I created this simple template, which I will give you all. And in the middle, you start with your theme or your concept, and then you visit all of the different domains and fill out as much as you can. Doesn't mean you need to do all of that, but jot down how am I going to connect this to reading. So, I mean, this is an ELA unit, so that's already a given, but maybe you want to bring in some additional read alouds, maybe come up with a writing prompt that can be carried out throughout all 3 or 4 weeks of your unit where you're going through the writing process, but it relates to what you're reading about in your theme. Math, how can you tie in your day's lesson with, some of the stuff that you've got going on? Like, how can you bring in sort of like in this case, a science-y twist with their daily math lesson? Social emotional learning. So especially if you are a depth and complexity school, you can definitely tie in some of those icons. If not, just talk about social and emotional aspects of what you are learning about. You can make a lot of connections there. Artwork, science, social studies, I definitely recommend. I mean, that's really easy to integrate what you're reading about, especially if it's a nonfiction unit. Find out how it crosses over into science and social studies and bring that in. So that's something that I'm really passionate about, and I do that through the use of anchor charts. So I am a Project GLAD trained teacher. Amazing training. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. And basically, you take the big idea and you create a graphic for it, and you put that in the middle there, and then you come up with categories that you use to pre-teach or introduce your concepts. And the color coding all plays a role as well, and these colors are carried out into other projects and whatnot. So there's that consistency. But this is a really great way to bring in like pre-teach, and if they're not already familiar with a lot of the like science or social studies connections, bring that in with a chart. Show how there is going to be a crossover between what you're reading about in ELA and what you're learning about in science and social studies. This is also where I bring in domain-specific vocabulary that I know that my students probably haven't heard before, so I need to expose them to this first. So yeah, this is a really great strategy. And then I like to do it in pencil first, just while I'm prepping. And then as I'm teaching it, I go over it with the marker. So there's that visual imprinting. And again, this is a Project GLAD strategy. Fantastic training full of amazing strategies. Okay. What else? This I want to talk about a little bit. I got this idea again from Head Over Heels for Teaching, where she had the Postit Notes, and she takes down the Postit Notes as they exemplify that behavior. And then underneath all the Postit Notes, there's like a reward, a surprise message. So I thought, how can we tie this into what we're reading about? And how can we get kids excited to open up their text and look for what they're supposed to be looking for? So I went into my student text from my reading program, and what I did was I began to cut out pictures and key details, paragraphs, important sections. See, I just cut it up. This was just my copy. And then I even like a heading. So I have headings, graphic features, and key details. And underneath here, I would write something that is a surprise incentive for them, but it's a secret. And then I would explain, hey, this is what we're going to be learning about, technology and innovation. Take a look at these pictures. Let's read some of these key details, these fun facts. And this is just a great sort of like inquiry guiding process as well. And then over the course of your unit, as you are reading the text, the kids are now doing what? They're looking for the key details, the fun facts. They're looking at the headings. They're looking at the graphic features. So it's all the things we want them to be looking for. It's normally kind of like pulling teeth. But now they've got a little reward hidden under there. And as you come across each thing, take it off. I'm not going to do that. It's going to rip. Take it off. And then slowly but surely, you've got a surprise unveiling. Okay. Another way to bring in more or make your unit more thematic and all-encompassing is, of course, to bring in that technology aspect. So I don't know where you are in terms of technology integration, whether you're one-to-one or maybe you can't stand it, but some kind of happy mediums, easy things to do are to bring in Google Slides, Flipgrid. Let's see what else I've got here. Yeah, like on Flipgrid, they can just explain what they're learning about, make little videos. It's kind of like, it's kind of like stories, or it's almost like TikTok-ish. So that's a really great way to bring in that like social aspect, but also connect it to an educational component. Google Slides, they can create some sort of research. You can bring in research and writing. You can bring in a collaborative aspect. So I think I even have that on here. Yeah, how are you going to foster collaboration with your students? So I do a lot of collaborative Google Slide projects. It's a little difficult to manage sometimes, but the end product is always worth it. A couple of other ideas that I had are specifically for inventors and innovation. I've got a class apps project on Google Slides. So it's this fun little resource that I created for several different topics. So the first slide in Google Slides it looks like a phone with little apps, and the apps are these categories. Remember I said I try to sneak those into other areas. So you actually see like the problem app, the impact app, the characteristics, and then in the slideshow, there are research pages where kids go and answer the questions and then create a research slide. So when it's in presentation mode, if you click on one of the apps, it's hyperlinked and it jumps straight to that page. So that's kind of a neat way to bring in more innovation and creativity into your typical research project. I also like to weave in PBL whenever I can. It's not possible for everything and for anything and everything, but if I'm in a rut, if I'm not feeling motivated or inspired, or my kids are groaning, this is a surefire way to boost student engagement. One of the projects that I love is the app project that goes really well with this theme or this unit. And it's where students work collaboratively to solve a problem in their day-to-day life, and then they design an app with their group. Okay, so it actually looks like all the components that you'd find on the App Store, from the cost to the reviews, the description, the target audience, the pictures, and even the patent, the logo. So that's really fun, and it's project based, or it solves a problem, and it's collaborative. That is something that I would tie in over the course of several weeks, and I wouldn't worry about doing it all in a day, but it's just another thing that you can sprinkle in to boost that like daily motivation. Okay. Next is bring in real materials whenever you can. It works really easily for nonfiction units. Okay, so for this unit specifically, if you're doing something on innovation, bring in your own old cell phones, your old cameras. Go to the thrift store and ask if they have a record player, whatever. Bring that in, and even go beyond just like giving it to the kids and saying, "Here, look, cool, touch it." I would even like wrap it up in a cardboard box and make it a treasure box. Go find the treasure over here. What can you find? Go find it. So it's like an artifact, and they're like, revealing what's inside, and then comparing and touching and talking, and that's definitely exciting and a great connection. I once did it. So for fictional units, it's a little bit trickier. But I once brought in like a gavel because I dressed up as a judge for my point of view unit where you're comparing two sides. So I was the judge, brought in the gavel, brought in the wig, bring in real things. It's so much more exciting that way. Okay, and then lastly, you can try to think of a hands-on activity for the kids to do, whether that is like have them bringing in like recyclables or household items, taking some of your own things that you've got in your cabinets and putting it out on the table and saying, build something, create, let me see what you can do. That's an easy thing to do. It could be, connected to any other type of like animal adaptations. Animals, every grade level studies animals at some point in the year. Build a habitat. Okay, so something that's hands-on, even if it's just like cutting and putting pieces together or doing something with a table, like that's another way to promote what you're learning about, your concept, get that reading in, and boost the overall student engagement. All right, so those were my main tips or strategies. Room transformation, not really a whole transformation, making it thematic and bringing in tech and social emotional learning, things like that, bringing in real materials, and doing something that is hands-on. So let me know what you thought, and if there are any ideas that resonated with you, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. And if you have any questions about the resources that you see behind me, the things that I've pre-made, if you want me to link those, just let me know. Thanks, guys.